Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Dateable, a show all about modern dating where we get to the bottom of people's behaviors, why they do the things they do, and why they say the things that they say. And why do we need to do taxes is my question for this week.
That has so much to do with dating.
It took me all weekend to do my taxes. Why? They change the tax laws every year, and I'm just more confused every year.
You always wait to the last minute. I'm always baffled by it because my mom's an accountant and wants it done like ASAP. So
I'm actually more proud that I did it the night before it was due. To me, that was early. To you, that's
nothing like that procrastination. But for anyone new, this is a dating podcast, not a tax podcast.
It could be a tax podcast. Hey, dating, taxes, it all goes hand in hand.
Hey, we were having this whole conversation about like if you get married in the state of California, you actually get less tax breaks, which is so counterintuitive to what I would have thought. I mean, some of it depends on your income brackets, of course, but like there are a lot of my friends that are married by, saying, but not legally married.
Yes. I have a lot of friends like that too, because you used to hear, and I'm sure you've heard this too, Julie, like, oh, you get married and you get tax breaks. It's good for your taxes.
Exactly.
But it's a myth, apparently.
Yeah, and you don't get like tax breaks for homes anymore. Like there's so much bullshit out there. Anyways.
No need to get married. No need to have a home. Just be homeless and single.
Exactly. You're coming out ahead on taxes. Lesson learned.
But you, Miss Julie, had quite an eventful weekend. I want to hear all about it. Because she didn't tell me anything before we recorded. She said she was willing to talk about her weekend getaway. So tell us.
I want to start before that we had a live stream last week. We are doing them every month. And we had a special guest. We'll give a shout out to Dawn. She was our member of the month for May. So go Dawn. And somehow the live stream turned to my personal life, which was not part of
Ryan Jeffrey.
Not part of the agenda. I mean, I think I've like alluded on some past episodes that I have been seeing someone, but Ryan Jeffrey specifically asked, and I remember when he called it out, like he's like, there's a question directed to you, and I was like, I know exactly what this is gonna be. But anyway.
Do you feel like J-Lo? It's like every time J-Lo changes her relationship status, everyone goes crazy and starts talking about it. Like, oh my God, did you hear J-Lo? J-Lo's dating Ben Affleck again.
I didn't think about that until right now. So no, I do not feel like J-Lo.
Well, you should.
It's definitely the same exact situation.
Exact
same
scale.
Exact same situation. But yes, I mean, I guess I did share that I have been seeing someone. I have a new boyfriend, which is very exciting. And, like when things click, they click. It was like one of those moments that like it's only been a month, so it hasn't, a little over a month at this point. So it hasn't been super long, but, we saw each other a lot. He was very proactive. Like we'd go on a date. He'd ask for the next, like a couple days later, we saw each other a lot in a short period of time and just, really enjoyed being together, which it was a reminder to me that like sometimes we make dating more complex than it needs to be. Mm-hmm. Like when someone's into you, they're ready for a relationship. They just want to see you, and it like doesn't need to be so many like games, and we don't need to be chasing these people that just don't want the same as us, right? Whether they aren't in the same place of their lives or they don't view us in that way. Like, what is the point at the end of the day? I know easier said than done. I've definitely been in things that are much more difficult, but it is a reminder to me like how easy it should feel, especially at this stage of the game.
It's an interesting dichotomy. On one hand, it should be easy. It should feel easy. On the other hand, it's the effort that people put into the dates that really show their interest. So I remember when you two first started dating, you were saying this one just feels different because he's putting in a lot of effort. He's very intentional. After your first date, he asked about the second date. After the second date, he wants to see you again pretty soon after. It's the effort that someone puts in, and we forget that sometimes it's not about winning someone over. It's to see if they want to put in the effort, if you want to put in the effort.
I'm glad you said that because I think easy doesn't mean not effort.
Right.
like, it's been easy in the sense that, like, I never questioned the intention. I never wondered, like, does he like me? Like, when are we going to see each other next? Like, that was all laid out very transparently. And, like, effort-wise, like, I think, like, I told him, like, kind of, like, when I was like, oh, I'm into this, was, like, he made me, like, a full-on picnic, like, in the park. Like, he, like, was like, what sandwiches do you want? I was thinking about ordering from this place, like, sent me the menu the night before. And, you know, he just came super prepared with everything. And I had been on so many dates, park dates prior, and I'm, like, putting it in quotations, because the guy just, like, rolled up with, like, nothing. You know, like, I was the one that had to be like, should I bring a bottle of wine? And it was, like, so nice and refreshing for someone just to own it. And I, like, almost wanted to be like, oh, should I do this and this? I'm like, I'm just going to, like, let him do it because he's, like, wants to do it, right?
Yeah,
so,
that was really impressive. So he completely checked off the double E's. The effort and the easiness.
The double E's. Maybe that's, like, the new sign when you've, like, met someone.
Oh, yeah? You got to the double E's? Yes, we
Yep,
did.
exactly. The double E's. But yeah, it just, I think, like, sometimes easy, like, you think, like, oh, it's too easy, it's not interesting. But it doesn't need to be that either. It's like, sometimes you just don't want that pit in your stomach when you're, like, unsure if they're going to text you back. Like, who wants that at the end of the day?
Imagine that. So then this was a big getaway weekend.
Oh, yeah. I had this trip planned to Sonoma with 3 other girlfriends of mine and their significant others and babies in some cases. And I mean, I was 6-wheeling it, but honestly, I didn't even care. 7th-wheeling it.
Yeah,
I was 7th-wheel. No, it was 6-wheel, right? Because it's like 2 wheels.
Oh, 3
each.
couples?
3 couples is 6-wheel, right?
Yeah, so then you're the 7th wheel?
Because you'd be third wheel. Yeah, you'd be the 7th wheel. I'm like, am I the 6th wheel or the 7th wheel? I don't
maybe
know.
to some of them you're the 6th wheel and their partner is the 7th wheel. But we just
like,
won't
who
tell
even
them.
knows anymore? Yeah, but I was totally okay with it. But and honestly, when we booked this trip, I wasn't expecting to have someone to invite to it because it wasn't like that. Like, it was probably like a month and a half ago ish, like maybe 2 months ago, and yeah, like, I was like, should I invite him? Should I not? Because we've been spending all this time together, and I'm like, I want him to come, and, like, I would like to introduce him to my friends, but I was like, is it too soon in the sense that, like, would it be better for us to do a trip first? You know? But I was like, you know, we were out one night, and I just, like, it felt right, and I asked him, and he was super excited about it. So he came on the trip with me, and it was super fun. I'm really glad that I invited him. Like, I think that it was the right choice, and, like, I think I'm really happy with the way it turned out. Like, this group of friends, like, they're pretty easygoing, and, like, their significant others are pretty welcoming and easy to hang out with, so I wasn't, like, super concerned. But it also was, like, a lot of new people to meet at once, and, you know, he definitely, like, got along great with everyone. It was really good to see. And, you know, you even asked me if there were babies there, and I'm like, yeah, I really just threw him in deep. But it was so cute, though. One of my friend's daughters, she's like 3, and she was like going around picking everyone flowers and like bringing them over, like when we were at dinner.
Adorable.
And she like brought one to him, and everyone's like, you made it, you're in. You got that flower.
You got that final rose.
Yeah, we're like, you've been picked for the Bachelor. The Bachelorette, you've made your cut.
But you know, it's kind of like, why even wait, right? Like, he's going to meet your friends eventually. This was a great opportunity to do so, and it shows that you don't take this lightly. You weren't just going to invite anybody on this trip, so it meant a lot for you to even ask him to go.
Totally.
Yeah, so I'm glad you guys had a good time.
No, it was great. You know, I mean, like, just being in Sonoma right now with, like, the sunny weather. He has a Jeep, so we rode up the Jeep, and everyone at the house was super excited about the Jeep because it had, like, the roof down. One of my friends was like, this is fulfilling my high school fantasy right now, being in the Jeep. But yeah, we hit up a lot of wineries, breweries. I was telling UA, I'm like, I just feel like so tired right now. We're like recording
hungover.
This a little late, but I'm like, I think like the 4 days of drinking and eating just caught up to me.
Yes.
But it was super fun.
Good for you. What was the situation like up in Sonoma now with the new mask laws? I feel like some people are like, okay, I'm good to take it off. Some people are like, oh, hell no, I'm keeping this on as long as I can.
So this was actually like it was like mixed. I mean, there were definitely like people like in all the wineries, they were totally wearing them and stuff. But I actually lost my mask at one point, and we went to like a brewery, and we went to a cider place first because there was like a line. And I went to go to the brewery, and I'm like, shit, I don't have my mask, and I only had one on me. And I'm like, are they gonna like let me in? Because it was like indoors and stuff. And I was just like walked through, and like no one even like batted an eye.
Really?
Yeah. But then on the way out, like the guys went into the gift shop, and he bought me a mask from the place.
Oh,
really
we need a code name.
So
we can't just call him the guy. We need a code name. I know we're not ready to reveal his actual name, but like, what's a good code name?
I could just say my boyfriend. That's a good way to say it.
Your BF, yes.
I'm not going to give him a fake name on the podcast.
Fine.
And I feel like you don't really reference your boyfriend's name either.
Well, because his name is so unique.
That's true. That is very true. That is true.
Very easy to find.
That is true. Actually, his would not be very easy.
No.
And he's like, is not a social media person, so it would be very difficult to find.
Your code name for him would be more unique than his actual name.
Probably. Probably. But yeah, no, it was a great weekend. Nothing but good stuff from it. So
I'm so happy. It was like, look at Julie. She's off the grid this weekend. I was like, hello, are you there? She's, getting drunk.
I totally texted with you, don't you?
Once. Okay, for anybody who's friends with Julie, she loves to text. This girl is a texting queen, and when I didn't hear from her for, I don't know, at least 12 hours, like, is she okay? I'm sure she's having a good time, but I just want to make sure. Because it's true.
Like, send help. Is she okay?
Yeah. I haven't heard a peep from her over text. No, she's fine. She's just in a relationship now, so.
Anyways.
Well, it's a big week for us, though.
It is. And we did meet on Hinge. I'm going to throw that out. Right, that actually has a lot to do with this coming episode, this coming sounding board event week. Like, we have a lot tie-in with dating apps, but you all know that I used to really be anti-dating apps. Like, I never thought I would meet people off dating apps. I had the experience that many of the people in our group had. Like, every time I see one of those posts, I'm just like, stick with it. Like, don't give up. Because, like, I definitely was in this, like, time period that I definitely serial dated a lot on dating apps, and many of them didn't go anywhere. Like, I'd have like a couple of dates, they'd ghost, they'd fall off, they wouldn't want to be in a relationship, whatever it was. And same for me, like, I would lose interest or whatever. I definitely remember like Tindering while in the bathroom on a date, like, I was definitely guilty also. But I really lost hope in dating apps. And then like I met my ex, the one that my British ex that left. And again, the only reason we broke up had nothing to do with it being a bad relationship. Like, he had to leave the country because he lost a visa. And now I met this boyfriend from a Hinge. So it's like, I just think it's a great way to meet people that you would never come in contact with. And I don't necessarily, like, it doesn't need to be your only way to meet people, but like, why rule out this way that's like so mainstream right now?
Yeah, I mean, just every time we talk about technology, we can either choose to complain about it, or we can figure out ways for it to work to our benefit. And dating apps were created to work to our benefit, not to make our lives worse. So with that intention behind it, I think this is why this is a great episode, because we interview the co-founder of Coffee Meets Bagel, Dawoon, because she will shed some light around how she's built an entire company about finding love for you. It's not, they did not build with the intention of let's make people's lives insane and crazy. Let's make everyone mad. That's not what they're trying to do. All these dating apps are trying to make the app sticky so that you have a great experience and potentially meet someone special.
And we put up I remember we put up a post a while back of like, if you could ask a dating app founder anything, what would you want? And we got a shit ton of answers back. So we did our very best to hit the majority of them. And, there's some topics that were like, this probably warrants like a whole discussion on its own.
Yeah.
So we left some off, but I think this episode is pretty jam-packed with a lot of the stuff that you all wanted to know. And that kind of is the inner workings of the algorithms to like how to use like success stories that they've heard and like how to use these in your favor.
And the ultimate question is, how do I best use the apps? People always ask about the algorithm. How does it give you the matches that it gives you? So if you know the inner workings of an app, then you can have it work for you.